Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to this episode of Nadiya Shah Productions. I am your host, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Well, I'm very blessed with so many friends and fans out there who love to send me links and different pictures and things, and it's all very exciting, and it is all in line with what I put out into the world. So you guys return so much positive energy, and I thank you for it. The one website link that I have been sent by you more than any other is michaellutin.com. Michael Lutin's website is one of the top most visited astrology websites on the web. It is at once quirky and insightful, political and passionate. It is such an honor for me to celebrate with you today, Michael Lutin. Michael, thank you for being here.
Even my mommy doesn't say good things like that.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Oh, let me say, a lot of people think that. So I am positive. A lot of people think that. And like I said, it's really thanks to friends and fans out there who are always sending me your link and saying, did you see what Michael Lutin wrote? People from around the world adore you.
Wow, that's amazing because you're in your space, you're thinking, you're doing it. And you don't even imagine anybody seeing it. So it's always happy to hear. I'm always thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, astrology is in many ways an isolated endeavor, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
But I think that's fine. I have no interest in converting the world to astrology. I don't think everybody needs it. At different points of their lives, maybe they'll turn to one thing or another. But I'm not in the business of selling astrology to anybody. I tried that years ago. Now we have people who are interested in what we do, and we're interested in them, and that's the way it should be. So I don't really feel that we have to get everybody on the planet Earth to follow the moon, because I don't think we have to.
Right, so it's about if people are already open to it, those are the ones you want to reach?
Yes, I remember several years ago, people approaching you in the street, and in the airports and things, they wanted you to do what they do, and they wanted you to follow their path. And I just don't think you can do that. I think that, and that's why publicity is bad for us. I'm never interested that, at this past conference we just did, the press was around, and then we talked to them, we gave them our opinions and this, and only thing that came in the newspaper or on the web was, astrologers predict the election. That's all they were saying. That's all they're interested in, and they don't really have any sense of what we're doing, and that's fine. I mean, I don't think it's against them, or it's just that publicity for us always has a tinge of, oh, we're here, please acknowledge us, and I just don't think, I think it's a fruitless pursuit.
Do you understand astrology as science or divination?
Yes.
That's a good answer. A bit of both.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be crazy not to see that the mechanics of it are so profound and powerful. On the other hand, you know that you look at one horoscope and you'll think you see something, and that's not at all what has manifested, because it depends on the individual, their path, their evolution, their background. So I think that astrology is very much scientific, plus a lot of the feelings and intuitions and magic that goes along with human interaction.
Your website is magic. I don't know what it is about it, but it is attractive, really. It draws people in and has become one of the top astrology sites for people who care about astrology. Can I ask you, what inspires your writing? Because it's very distinct.
What inspires my writing? Well, I should tell you, someone asked me recently, well, what do you do? What do you do? And in one sentence, could you tell me what you do and why you do it? And I said, well, pardon me, I use astrology to tell you what's happening, to help you do best what you love to do, and to make you laugh while you're doing it. That's what inspires me. I think of something that's going on in astrology, the planets, and I think, oh, that reminds me of this movie, or that reminds me of that tune, or this reminds me of this person. And then I just do it. And, the whole site is really free. People can come on and go on and see whatever they want. I didn't even want that website.
Wow.
I did not. I think we started in 1999. I think something like that. I thought, oh, who needs a website on top of everything else I do? Now I think, my God, it's like telepathy. I'm lying in bed. I get a thought in the morning. Oh, this would be cool. I run to the computer, and it's in the heads of millions of people. It's like telepathy. People in Asia get my thoughts that I was thinking 5 minutes ago in the shower. I think it's amazing. So I think there's one drawback, though. When that internet goes out for 5 minutes, I am unhappy, and I don't like that. And in my earlier days of work, people would come and get their charts done. They would call me up on the phone. We didn't have this instantaneous connection with everybody. It's wonderful, but it's also cut off like this instant if the web goes out. You must feel that, don't you?
Well, I think it's fascinating that we even manifested the web. I think as a symbol, the web represents our own understanding of how we are so connected. Now, as far as having an internet business, yes, I completely understand what you're saying, because when everything is online, when it goes down, it's like what you do has to stop. All orders go down, all communication, all interaction goes down as well. So of course it takes you out of commission. It's as if, if you had a shop, it's as if you had to lock the door.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
Right. It's as if there's a storm or a hurricane or a tornado and you're down. Mm-hmm. And that's the big drawback about that, because there is no backup. If your internet's down on your provider, your internet's down on your provider. P.S. Bye. So that's the one thing about the web that I find disconcerting and difficult to accept. As much as I love the instant communication with everybody, I love that. It just goes along with it goes along with the biz. But of course, we do other things. We write, we connect. I have live presentations, which I'm doing more of now. So I think that I can never lose touch with the people, though. I think that's the thing that's bad about the web, because every chart I do, every person who comes into my office, I learn astrology from. Don't you think that's true?
Oh, absolutely. That is a very powerful statement. I love the way you put that together. But yes, I learn something from every client. And you're right, I'm learning astrology. Learning astrology is part of what I'm learning from my clients.
Of course.
Wow.
Of course. So I don't ever want to stop that and substitute the web for that. And nowadays, a lot of people want to speak on the phone or Skype. I still like somebody in the office. Especially for the first session. I like to see the person, know the person. The vibes are there. And that's really what we're doing. We're not, astrology is not a profession. I've said for years, astrology is like the Roach Motel. You check in, but you don't check out. And I think that what we're doing isn't really about the web or all these newfangled tablets and things, and I have all that stuff. I still think it's about one person and another person. I think it's very personal. I think it's very private. And I think that's what we're really doing, because it's not a profession. People learn astrology and they take certifications and they think they're going to go into a business. I got sad news for those people. You get called into astrology. You don't choose it. It chooses you. It picks you up by the back of the head and says, this is where you're going now. Because if we were really going to open a business, it wouldn't be astrology. I mean, I don't know how you feel about that.
I agree with you completely that it chooses you, right? Some people say that it's like a calling. Others say it's almost like you have to do it.
You have to do it, and
it just makes sense.
It
Something
makes
clicks.
sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. And some people have the calling or the urge to communicate that to others. And when you're first into astrology, you want everybody in astrology. Your whole family has to be into astrology. Everybody you know has to be into astrology. As you get more into it, you realize, no, it's for those people who are interested in what you have to say. They're going to listen to you.
So where do you practice astrology then? Where you said you like one-on-one in person. Where is that?
Well, my main office is in New York City, where I spend a lot of time.
How am I not surprised? Your vibe is so New York.
Isn't it? It's so disgusting. It's so
Why would it be disgusting? It's a part of, we are part of our environment, right?
That's why I spend the other two parts of my time in either Southern California or Paris, France, where I lived for many years. And that makes me happy. I could not live in New York City all the time. I think it's horrible to be stuck there all the time. And yet it's a great place to do something creatively, but 24/7, 365, it's unwholesome. So I try to get to California lots, where I spend a lot of my time, and also I like to go to Paris.
So you also write and produce shows. I saw one of your shows recently. It was brilliant.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. It was wonderful because it incorporated astrology, and it was also so entertaining. It was so entertaining, and it was funny and creative, and I just thought that the same energy that you bring to your website that attracts so many people, it was as if that was on stage.
Wow, that's a great thing to say. Wow, can I quote you on that?
I would be so honored.
That was so
right?
nice.
I would be
That
so
was
honored.
really good. Yes, we worked on it for 18 months for one night. Not practical. So we're now talking about doing something that we can place in a venue and repeat it over and over so that more people can see it. I mean, we had 1,000 people in the audience, but we'd like to do something that stays in a place and people can come and see it, because, as you know, it's always entertaining. We have a lot of fun. The music is great. Wasn't the music fantastic? We had a great bunch of Brooklyn rockers called the Glorious Veins. We had ancient Mayan music. We had standards from the 1930s and 40s. We had every kind of music in that thing, plus it was funny, if I say so myself.
A lot of
And it
people
was
said so.
also, underneath it all, we were trying to say something. And that, to me, is a great way to talk astrology without talking astrology. There was a little astrology in it, but it gave a big secret prediction, supposedly, that the ancient Mayans had made for us. I made it up. But it was for the secret to 2012. And it's what I think is really going on in 2012 for everybody. But I did it by hiding it in this little story we had of an old lady and her granddaughter and all. But it was really something that I wanted to say through astrology. And we said it with this great evening. We got so many people to cooperate. You can imagine. And astrologers, most of them were astrologers who said, "Oh, I don't think I could be on stage."
Right. Astrologers are very independent.
"I don't think I could be on stage." I said, "Look, would you just try something?" I said to one of the people. She said, "No, I've never been on stage." I said, "Look, what if it's just one line?" "Well, what kind of line?" And I said, "Well, here, this is," I scribbled this out on a fender of a car 2 years ago. I said, "Look at it. You just say that line. Is that easy? Could you say that?" "Yeah, I could say that." So she ended up having the lead. And people have so much more talent than they think they have.
Wow.
They have so much more courage. Look at that singer, Gloria Starr. I mean, was she ridiculous?
Amazing.
Unbelievable. And so these people,
People have more talent than they realize, and they have more courage than they realize.
and that's what's great. I mean, that's what my practice is try to get people not to do something, but to rediscover their intuition, their courage, their core of strength and health, so they don't need astrology. Try to help them remember what they've forgotten about themselves. And I think that so many people have so much more talent than they realize because it hasn't been nurtured or encouraged. Every one of those people, the goddesses, the ones who did that, they're just astrologers. They end up being able to sing and dance a chorus line, and it releases so much energy and tension. I'm happy to be doing it. I want to keep doing this.
Well, you do it very well. So whether it's writing a play, or writing your website, what is that writing process like for you?
I write best by hand in Starbucks. I don't like to sit alone during the day in my office or house and write, although sometimes my website I do. But the most, intense stuff I do, I'll either do very, very late at night, or I like to go to Starbucks in the morning with the noise around me and shut it out. I put my headphones on sometimes and my iPod with the people around, and then I like to write it out. So the big messages that I send special to people, I usually write by hand, because that I find is the most personal and direct.
And then,
but there are other instances where people, very, very often, as children, are told something they know is not true. But they have to accept it because the parents are bigger than they are. So they learn to distrust their own perceptions because kids are very smart. And so they saw something, they heard something, they recognized something, and they were told that never happened. So what does that mean? They grow up doubting their own perceptions. They go to school, they go to college, they get married, and they don't trust their own instincts. And when you learn to trust your own instincts, you're a creative person. And I'm not saying you're going to be an artist or a painter or a singer, but trusting your instincts gives you this chance to not just have a job to support all of the crap you don't need to buy in the first place, which a lot of people get sucked into. Because I work 7 days a week. I don't think I work. I don't have a job. I just do my thing. And if we can help people find something to do that earns their keep, makes their money, makes them prosperous and everything, while doing something that's exciting and fulfilling to them inwardly, we're doing a good job.
yeah, that sounds like the best of astrology.
I think so. It takes a lot of courage to have the faith in yourself that you're going to be able to do it. And that's been squashed in so many cases because you have to be a little crazy to walk away from security. You have to be very crazy to walk away from security. But somehow in that insanity, there's a kernel of your salvation.
Wow.
But, hey, don't listen to me, because I'm crazy. But,
Thank goodness, because I think if you weren't, your creativity wouldn't be what it is. And I think also to be an astrologer, you have to be one of those people who insists on trusting yourself. And that is defined as crazy sometimes.
If you can do that, you've done yourself a tremendous favor. But sometimes that takes people have to go have therapy or they have to do something because so much of our instincts and our wishes we're told they're unrealistic, they're impractical, they're silly, they're foolish, it's magical thinking, it's childish. And so we get to believe that even in this economy, I mean, we have to be very careful in this economy. You can't just throw it to the winds, and you can't do it. But even in this economy, with Uranus square Pluto now, Neptune in Pisces, people are no longer willing to be enslaved and tyrannized by a regime they no longer trust.
That is one of the most powerful ways I've seen that symbol interpreted. Can you expand on that more?
I think people are angry. people are angry. And the more that they revolt, the greater the repression is going to be. Aries Capricorn. And in an Aries Capricorn conflict between revolution and repression, or chaos and order, there has to be a midpoint, and that's Aquarius. And there has to be a common goal for people to meet. And it happened in the conference that I just did in New Orleans recently. There was a lot of conflict. There was a lot of conflict between the organizers and the people doing their creative work. But the common goal won out, and everything worked out. And I think that's going to be true in the government, in world politics, because we can't blow each other to bits. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But there has to be a common purpose, and that common purpose, I think, you may not agree with people, but that's what solves the problem. I think that's really going to happen now, because I don't see this revolutionary feeling going away.
Mm-hmm. And especially now, because the square, the Uranus-Pluto square, is particularly heightened over the coming 3 years.
Heightened. I think it happens 5 times, I think. So there is no easy solution to the politics, the economy. There is no easy solution to the problems that face every country in the world, because that is the meaning of this opening square of Uranus-Pluto that started in the 60s. It's social revolution. It lasts for years and years. You know that. So I think there's no I don't think there's any easy way out. And so everyone has to struggle in his or her own way for independence and integrity, and still not completely be divorced from the system. We can't be. It's too big. It's too big.
And these are themes that I've certainly read on your website as well, in that you talk about world events, and you talk about the symbols and what they're suggesting for all of us as a collective, but you also have horoscopes as well.
My website really has, a daily message, a weekly message, a monthly message. Those things are all free. The only thing people have to pay, and I don't have a subscription. I don't know who belongs to my website. Come if you want to, stay home if you don't. But
I love it.
I do. Who would keep track of a mailing list? I couldn't do it. But what we do offer people when major things are going on, we will offer special messages to them at a small fee for that particular sign and that particular rising sign that lasts. And we'll say, this lasts 6 months, this lasts a year, or something's been up for a year. If you didn't get it, you better get it now because it's culminating, that kind of thing. That's the only income I don't have advertising on my website.
Mm-hmm. So it's advice, insights and advice, but delivered in a very unique and entertaining way.
Thank you. I mean, it's the only way I know how to do it. I don't really know how to do a lot of the other things. And I think that with what's going on in 2012, I think there's a lot of memories for people coming up from 1983. I think that's the big news for 2012, 83.
83, the magic year.
I think so.
It's going to be that era, that cohort.
Something is coming back, a ghost, a memory, a situation that people will be facing now that reminds them of where they were in 1983. And those who weren't born then, it will have happened to their parents. That's because there's an astrology thing that in 1983, from 82 to 84, there was a big conjunction of Saturn and Pluto in Libra. And Saturn has been there the whole year this year. The whole year, all of 2012 it's been there. So it's coming back. It seems to be happening again. But you have to remind yourself this is not 1983. You have other options, you've grown. But I think that's sort of what our show is trying to show people. That's a memory.
Yes, and it's lovely that you said that we have grown. Like we don't have to repeat the past. Hopefully the past can make us better. And when a transit comes along, we deal with it differently, whether it's the collective or whether it's the individual.
I hope so. I hope so. Because the temptation is to slip back into the past pattern. Because the feeling is so similar. It's like everything else we do. We react according to the way we've been conditioned as kids. And it would be wonderful, great, if when something comes up, we don't react the same way. We do something different. We show our growth, our sophistication, our ability to understand what's happening to us and why, and not shy away from that. Because the more we're able to live in the present, I know it sounds corny, the happier you are, because then you're not afraid of the future and you're not being haunted by the past. I know that all sounds great, but when you're in the middle of it, it's very hard to do it. It sounds wonderful when somebody tells you, cheer up. But when you're in the middle of something, you have to cope with it. And people have a lot. I've just in the last 4 or 5 days, I've heard people with absolutely horrendous news. So I think that it's, you know, you're an astrologer, you know, Uranus Pluto is very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult to deal with, depending on your natal horoscope and how your natal horoscope fits in with that. But we're all in the same leaky boat, and we're all bailing to keep the boat floating. And the more we can cooperate with each other and help each other do whatever we're doing, and I think your website is great, by the way. I talk about what great websites, because there's a lot of astrology stuff that I can't even understand what they're talking about. But when I stumbled on yours, it was by accident. I said to my assistant, "Hey, check this website out. This is really attractive. This person she knows what she's doing," and I think it's a great site. It's a beautiful site.
Well, thank you. It looks like we've given each other testimonials today.
No, I think it's true, though. I think that you know what's out on the web. Especially now, everybody can be an author. Everybody can write a blog and a book, and everybody has an opinion, and that's great.
But isn't that very Uranus and Aries? That everyone can do whatever they want? They have to take ownership and do it themselves?
I guess. That's another thing about the web. There's no filter on anything. And I don't spend a lot of time looking on websites. By yours, I found quite by chance. And I think that there are people who you can tell the intention, can't you? Right? You look at somebody's website, you can tell what the intention is and what the level of expertise is also.
Yeah, the intention, and I think it's about what you are trying to put into the world, how you are contributing to the world as well. Like your website guides people, inspires people, gives advice, but also makes people laugh, and I think that's very special.
Well, I think that's because I have so many weird things that pass through my own mind, and I think this would be funny on the website. I'm thinking now of doing I found an animator in Los Angeles, and what I want to do, I'm going to have him. I think I'm going to do this. I'm thinking about this.
It's one of those creative ideas.
Well, I think this would be fun for Scorpio. And you have either a T-Rex or a Velociraptor come out of and turn to the camera and show its teeth, open its mouth, and then I have a friend who's an opera singer, and I would overdub her singing the love aria from La Boheme. And have that be a picture of Scorpio. That's what I think we're going to do that.
Wow, inside the mind of Michael Lutin right there.
Be careful.
Thank you so much for being here and for sharing your brilliance, really.
Oh, come on. I think that we're both doing the same thing. We're out there, and I think you're doing a great job. And I think so many astrologers, our fellow astrologers, are out there. We're fighting a great tide to get people to live better, more prosperous, more happy, and I think that we're just doing what we have to do. God knows why.
It's a worthy endeavor.
I love it. I'm happy, and 7 days a week, I don't have a job, but I work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here to celebrate Michael Lutin with me. Until we connect again, take care.